Hey y'all, what is up? Welcome or welcome back to my channel. I am Kay Reads. I know you're probably wondering where the freak I was last month, but last month was my birthday month, so I took the entire month off to just relax and enjoy the new chapter, which I am 32 now, so I'm very happy about that. Once again, thank you to everyone who watched the Bella J episode. I really had a great time with her. This one is very special as well because I have a very special guest. I got introduced to this author, I believe, back in 2020, 2021. And I read Back to Us, which is a Christmas novelette. And then I got into her really books when I read Sticky Situation 1 and 2. And then I think I became a fan of this author when I read Silver Lining. And when that book came out, I ate that book up in a day.
Okay.
So I just want to let you know, and I've been a fan, and I'm just putting it out there now. Grant mine.
Okay.
We've had these conversations on Twitter. She knows, I know, we know. She's mine. So without further ado, I have Miss Chassilyn Hamilton with me today. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you. Lovely introduction. Thank you for having me. So I'm excited.
Thank you for coming on. So first question that I ask all of my writers that come onto my show, how and why did you start writing?
For me, writing has just kind of always been there. It's been a way that I've expressed myself ever since back in elementary school. I started writing songs, then I progressed to poems, and then in high school I just got to stories. It's just the imagination has always been there, and it just felt like there was always a story to tell. So now things just lined up right a few years ago, because I'm 3 years in. Things just kind of lined up right for me to just really take it there. But I just felt like, there's just messages, because there's always a message that I want to tell. And I just felt like it's better to express that through characters. So it's just a passion of mine that's always been, and I'm just happy to be able to do it today.
Okay, cool. So, like I said before, y'all, I am a huge fan of Silver Lining. If you've not read this book, you are doing yourself a disservice. It is definitely an age gap, but is an appropriate age gap. It's not like he's in his 50s and she's 19. There's nothing of the sort of that nature. It's a vacation, feel-good romance. Very spicy, might I add. So my first question to you is actually two questions. One,
Okay.
what made you, I know you said, I think in like the outro, I think the thank you that you went to Bahamas, so you decided your inspiration from that, you got the book from there. But what made you want to write a age gap book, and then two, make it to where Sylvester, that's the main character, that's him right here, and Cameron, who is his love interest, be past student and professor, I might add.
Well, yes, Bahamas. I'm from Florida, so the Bahamas is like the quickest destination to get when you want to just be a little fancy and leave the country. So that's a place that I've been to a lot of times. Love the place. It's just a feel good place that I like to go to. Cruising is something I love to do. I've been doing that for like the past 10 years. And I just really want to do something fun. The idea just randomly came. One of my friends, she sent me pictures of the whole Silver Fox crew. That I don't know if you've seen them on Instagram, but it's like these, distinguished gentlemen.
I've seen them on TikTok. Yes, I have.
So they were part of that inspiration. He sent me, my good friend Lish sent me pictures and was just like, I know you can write this character. And I was in the middle of Target, and when she sent me that, it just really just inspired me. Like before I left that store, I had already started working on the outline. It just hit, and it just felt right. Like that book was so easy to write. It was just a good time. And I just wanted to do something that was fun. And the vibes were there. Like I said, being in the Bahamas, just knowing how fun that was. I just wanted to write a fun story. And with him being older, with the picture, the inspiration being an older guy, I just kind of wanted to jazz it up with someone younger. But like you say, these are both adults. It's an age gap. It is quite a bit of a gap, but Cameron is, a 30-year-old grown woman, not some gullible younger, one coming of age that there could be manipulated. I didn't want any of that. I just wanted to write about two grown adults that were securing themselves, that could just come together and just have a good time. And with me, it's just gonna be spicy. I just feel like, spice just makes it right. So all of those came together and it just created a story that I love.
I was jealous of her when it was the cruise scene, and I want to say it was like their last, either the second to last date or like the last date when he went to like his suite,
Mhm.
and she told him that she never had experienced the O. And he talked her through it. And I'm like, damn. I mean, granted, I'm real. I'm gonna be blunt. I've never experienced a really big O either like that. So I was like, we a fly
Just
on the wall.
look at it, like, right. They got it. They really understood the assignment there. That was definitely,
Yes.
but yeah, he was definitely just a leader in all ways. Like he really led her through that and just really showed her that what she experienced just hadn't even, really just tipped on what could be. So yeah, he really definitely did handle business repeatedly. Yeah.
And another question too, I had to ask after, because I one of the, like, this is like one of my top books that I reread, so I love it
Oh,
I reread
I
it
love
honestly
it.
every now and then.
Awesome. Thank you.
Welcome. That plot twist,
Yeah.
because I thought too
Hmm.
reading it, and I was just like I understand why she felt that way. I'm not gonna spoil it if you haven't read it, but at the same time, it's just like, well, her ex did do this to her. So like Gia said, if it was a get back, it was like a dope get back. But come to find out, it wasn't true. He
Right.
dated the mother
Right.
and stuff like that. But I was just like, what?
Yeah, I got a lot of DMs about that. Like people, I know a lot of hearts dropped at that, but life just throws things at you sometimes. So I try to just have those moments where it's just not always as much as a fairy tale as it is. Sometimes things happen and sometimes things you have to adjust to, you have to process and deal with. So yeah, definitely threw that out and then kind of reeled it back, like, not my bad, not as, traumatic as it could be,
Yes.
but you know, but yeah,
That, and then there's also too. Hold on, I'm texting. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm texting my brother. My brother getting my food order. I am freaking starving. Um,
that's important.
I'm freaking starving. But also another thing too was that he was so dominant, but that not in a bad way.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was just like, I like you. I want to be with you. I'm not on this little board game like your ex was. If I'm going to say you're mine, you're mine. He gave such BDE that I was just like, why can I not find a dude like that?
You
Like,
know,
and I know they're real. I
right.
know that. But majority of them were taking. So I'm like, damn, like, is there any single men out here like Sylvester?
Look, I have so many people that say if there was ever a cruise like that, truly, where you could just go and just find that to sign them
Oh,
up. Like he's just, he's just a leader, and I think his profession has something to do with that. With him being a professor, like he has that role, and he's gentle, and he just knows that that will get you there better than intimidation. So,
mm-hmm.
and with him so secure in who he is, like he knows who he is, he knows what he offers, and he just knows that, he wanted Cameron, he made it known, but then it also wasn't too much to where it scared her anyway. So
Yeah.
he was just that guy. I love a man that knows what he wants and isn't afraid of that. Like, just please just say it, because a lot of times that the other person could be feeling the same way, and the miscommunication and the shyness, and people are so scared to be vulnerable. And I was just like, no, I don't want that aggravation. She had to kind of go through some things. She was still dealing with her experiences, so it took a little bit for her to kind of really stand up and say, I want this.
Mm-hmm.
But she understanding who he was, she did get there. But I just like when a grown man is just a grown man. Like, we're here, just make it known, and then hey, it can work out like for Cam and Sly.
Speaking of vulnerability, let's get into her cousin, Miss
Okay.
Gia, because or Miss Georgia, however you want to pronounce her name. She was the comic relief you needed in that book. But when it got to her book, I wanted to slap the brakes off her multiple freaking times.
Mm-hmm.
So spontaneous Soulmates is basically kind of the sequel, but kind of not really a sequel to Silver Lining. So if you want to read this, definitely read this because the main characters are in this book. Grant is Sylvester's best friend. In Silver Lining, I'm giving you a little bit of a spoiler. He is just got divorced with his ex-wife. Gia is the cousin of Cameron, and she's single, living life. She's very free spirit, and they kind of, low key, kind of like become a couple during the trip because they don't want to be a third wheel to Cameron and Sylvester. However, there is a scene in that book that goes in that kind of is like the catalyst of this book. So what made you want to write this book? Because if you follow her Twitter, you know that you've been writing this book for a while.
Yes.
It took you time to write this book, and depending on the pages and especially the heavy topics, which we get to in a minute, that's in this book, I understand why you wrote it. So what was it about Silver Lining that made you be like, you know what, I think Grant and Gia also deserve a book?
Well, the plan was always for it to be two couples. I wanted it to be because, with the beginning of Spontaneous Soulmates, you see these stories are happening at the same time. I wanted to make it kind of a double feature. I wanted to kind of go and weave, but it just turned out to be a little too complicated. And initially, Slam, as always, Sly and Cam, their stories was just that one I can work on two, but then one's going to edge the other out, and that one kind of just took over. So then I just focused on that because with me trying to make it 2 in 1, I was going to have to shorten it a lot, and I didn't want to take away from either story. So it was always going to be the 2. And then initially I wanted Spontaneous Soulmates to kind of just start right where Silver Lining ended. I like for stories to just kind of go into the next one, but I knew in doing that you were going to miss, as a reader, you were going to miss a lot of their backstory because, as you see, a lot took place on their cruise. Like while they were going, there was some mentions of like, oh, they're over here, or while they're doing this, I put that in Spontaneous Soulmates, Cam and Sly, oh, that's crap this night, they're hanging out. They hung out too. So it was a lot of things that were going on that really helped develop that story and push that story. So I realized I had to kind of take a step back. I did not want this book to take as long as it did. Like you say on Twitter, I'm very vocal. Like if you follow me there, you'll know everything. I come there first. That's just where I really get a lot of my thoughts out. You can be so random there. So I like to just throw things out. I like to keep up with progress. I love the threads over there. So following there, like you say, you saw that story just took over. And that's normally what happens. I try not to be too much in control and putting what I want and just kind of let it flow. And that one really just took a life of its own. I really wanted that to be shorter, like the first one, because that one was not even 60,000 words. And this one's over double that. So this story just kind of took me through it, but at the end, I did love how it ended up because there was a lot to it. And with Gia, like you said, she's the comic. She was the funny one. She was the light spirited one. But with people, there's always more than one side to them. So I just really wanted to kind of dive into like her, who she really is, and why she may have that, because those regards that were up, and it just took Grant to kind of come break those down and bring them their happy.
Yeah. And with Grant, it was always, he was so patient. So patient. But at the same time, I understand his frustration. Because the book starts, because when you open the book starts off with her at the hospital, and that's when he finally finds out the situation. And then you go, and then you double back on like kind of like it's basically, I read it like a movie. You know how they be like, oh, or like a TV show, like here, this is the climax of the story. Right. And then like 5 days later or 5 days before this and that. So I understood his frustration, but the fact when he realized, okay, this is what's happening, I don't want her to be by herself. At the time, Gia and Cam were still living together, and then like I said, Sly was always over there, whatever. He was like, all right, you're moving in with me. I don't care what you say. I don't give a fuck if you're mad. You're moving in with me. And I think with her, because she's such a free spirit, and because of the situation that she's been through with, the situation, I could understand her first. I could understand her hesitation of why she didn't tell him. But at the same time, you can't get mad at this man trying to move on when you don't you claim you don't want him.
Yeah.
Like you can't have both. And when Cam tried to explain that to her, she was just like, I don't even care. I don't even I like blah blah blah. But yet you're mad at him for moving on. Make that make sense to me.
That you took the words like, girl, you gotta make sense, G. Like, look, these are my people, but sometimes I be giving the side eye too. Like, girl, like, what do you want? Like me, like you say, knowing the story, knowing why, and understanding, the caution. But however, sweets, like that's just not life. Like, shit or get off the pot. I'm sorry. Like, if you don't
Exactly.
hold this man back because you're not ready. So yeah, she had to kind of fight through that and get through that point to the point to where she could be vulnerable. Like you say, Grant was just so patient with her, and I just love when the characters just really complement the other.
Mm-hmm.
So, where she was lacking in that, he just took his time with her. And that's just really what she needed. She just needed to be loved on the right way so that trust could come. So, I was definitely proud of how he maneuvered through that, because that was a lot. And like, through the book, he kind of thinks about how he had to kind of put his feelings to the back burner.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this ain't cool what you did. Like, I am not for that. You got to tell these daddies about these babies. And you can't, they're not just your baby. Because if it was, then you would make it on your own. Like, that's just, it takes two, and, one doesn't supersede the other. It's the thing that, you have to do it together. And he understandably frustrated with that, but still kind enough to kind of just put that to the side and be what she needed, especially when she was kind of, fragile at that point.
Especially too when he realized that he was going to be a father again. Even with, at the time he already kind of had a kid, but his kid was about to be out the house, about to go to college in his view. But the fact that he was just like, okay, well, you know what, I'm just going to have to start this whole process over. I'm just going to have to learn,
Right.
being a dad in this new day and age. But the thing that got me though was his ex-wife. Baby girl, you filed for a divorce. You told him you didn't want to do this anymore. And then when you realize he's messing with someone younger,
Gut punch.
you wanna come back and be like, let's make this work? What?
Like, keeping it real goes wrong. Like, baby, you can't do certain things for attention. You got to be a big girl sometimes. Like, sometimes things backfire, and she just was, I don't know, audacity, that be for sale for a lot of people these days.
I feel like with her, especially the baby shower scene, that's the part that actually got me, because really put her ass in place, which I thought was very, very much so needed. It was one of those things just like, I don't want to be with you no more. Like I say, he tried to do everything he could to probably save that marriage, and she, he just let it go, so he let it go. But like, I don't want to be with you, but at the same time, I want you to be miserable while I'm having my fun.
Ain't that crazy?
I think that makes sense.
That's just that ego. And sometimes, and have seen that where people are in relationships and they end and they're the parent. They just kind of feel like that kind of puts them at this level of like, well, no matter what, I can't be touched because I have this with this person. And it's just maybe that rug got pulled, because it's like, now we here, boo, so you and I are one and the same. And that she had an issue dealing with. And like you say, she's younger, and then she is just gorgeous girl, but then she's also, free spirit. She has her style, her piercings, her tattoos, and it's just like, okay, wait, this is nothing like me. So now there's that insecurity that comes. And no, she didn't deal with that the right way. And yeah, Mujia, she had to get through her issues with Grant, like, hold on, I don't really have my footing over here. But when she found it, she stepped into that confidence. So I loved how she kind of, stepped toe to toe to her with like,
and
baby,
especially when the son was just like, yeah, me and Gia, we cool. Like, like, that's gonna be my niece's, that's gonna be my daughter's, that's gonna be my sister's mom. So I'm gonna have to be cool with her. And the thing was, I could understand now the ex-wife, I could understand if Grant's son was younger. That would have,
right.
I can understand that. But the boy is about to be a senior. Well, he was already a senior. He's about to go to college.
Yeah.
They don't have to talk. To be honest with y'all don't really have to talk. Y'all can just talk through him.
Right. Truly, at this point, you don't really need to come into the other parent at this age. Like this ain't, like Scrappy Erica. Y'all don't, the girl in college, y'all don't, she can speak to her father just like he can speak to his father. They have a
Yep.
good relationship. He has a room there. It's not like no, oh, just see me on the weekend, sleep on the couch like that. He has 2 homes. Like, it's fine. And that was important to me because I know a lot of times when the parent moves on, especially with a divorce, sometimes there could be some opposition there. The children may not be welcoming to, the big change that's going on there.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like they already had enough. I did not want that to be. So I really wanted that to be at least a part where he could just find some relief. Like when he's having the talks and he's like, checking in, like, are you good? And he's like, I'm excited. I really want to be there. Like that really helped Grant a lot. So kudos to, the son being more mature than his mama. Po thing.
Especially because I think they were talking about getting a car, and I'm like, well, if you get the car, he won't even need you to drop him off because he knows where his daddy lives at. So,
yeah,
are you just mad because
just mad?
Really? Like, but at the same time, the son, but I believe, if you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think the son like slipped up and told Grant that the mom was even dating. If I'm not mistaken. So why are you mad?
Mama actually, Mama got her story too. I had to just wrap the story up at a certain. There's definitely an avenue there. But my Silver Lining crew lives on because the Jacinta, she is Gia's co-worker. So we'll get there. I'm hoping to get. I know we're gonna talk about the future projects later, but I'm hoping to get there later this year because I got to round it out and give me an older woman, younger man story. Like I got to represent for my older women. So we will still get a little bit of dabble in Grant and Gia's story because there are some things there that I kind of alluded to a little bit. Some people have come and it's just like, you know what, you did catch that. That's right. But especially with their mama, there's some things there that
I'm here for it. And let's go into the wedding. The wedding was freaking gorgeous. I loved everything about it. I love the fact that you had Sylvester and his son really, really joint, have that father-son moment, because in the book, it tells Cam, like, yeah, me and my son, we're close, but we're not as close as I would like us to be. And I love the fact that Cameron was like, even though they were around the same age, Cameron was like, you still have to make that connection. Like, I'm a daddy's girl. And if you want our future child to, be, either a dad guy or whatever, you still have to make that. You have to make that connection with your first son.
Yes,
that's the only way it's gonna be.
So that
was dope.
Yeah, definitely important. I like to try to cross off all the boxes and not just leave anything open there. So I definitely had to circle back to that. Because that was something that bothered him because of just things from the past that kind of just, built up, and they kind of weren't where he wanted them to be. But I love Kim for not letting, because it could be a little bit like, I'm closer to your age than I am with, your dad. So that could be a lot, but she was mature about it. And I'm glad that she stepped up and didn't give any issues because he didn't need any pressure on that. That was already, fragile enough, but definitely loved how you showed up, especially at in the suite, because that's something that it did affect him. He didn't want to show it because he's just that guy that kind of just keeps that thing close to the chest. So it was just like, if something he thought about, he was going to do his best not to let it bring him down. And then boom, here we go. Just love in different ways. I just wanted to show that, you can have close relationships, even like soulmates. In my mind, I think Cameron and Gia are like more like that.
Oh, yes, of course.
Definitely, like one can't be without the other. So I want to show that yes, you can have that romantic soulmate, but then you also have your person that is, your system, your support system, that person that got your back, they got your heart, like they gonna hold you down. So I wanted to show that with them too, and then also show those other relationships. So him and Sylvester with Silas, that's another way I wanted to show that.
But you also see too in the wedding that, a lot of people have controversies when it comes to this. Oh, my wedding's about me, and I don't want nobody else to be pulled at my wedding. So the fact that, like you said too, with Cameron and Gia, even though they are cousins, but they're also best friends first, the fact that, Gia was like, this is about you, but Cameron was like, no, this is about us. Because not only, like, I didn't just meet my person on this cruise, you met your person on this cruise too. So I want to experience this day together. So the fact that, Gia didn't have any idea only, Grant, Sylvester, and Cam did. I thought that was really beautiful.
Yeah, I definitely did love that. That gave me all the feels, like, especially when they all kind of know and then she's just oblivious. Like when she's in the suite with Kim and she just like, girl, you got me in this white dress. Like, are you okay? And Cameron's just like, it's fine. And she's like, okay, this might just be, she said something like the closest I'll get to a wedding dress. And she no idea, like, girl, this man is crazy about you. He's crazy about your family. And Cameron and Sly, they were kind enough to, like you say, include them because this journey has not just been just with one couple. It's always just been them intertwined in each other's life. Even in Spontaneous Soulmates, there's so much progression in Cameron's story. Like I said, I didn't give the epilogue. I thought that, I thought the G's were going to come a lot faster than they did, but I always knew that we were going to continue that through there. So you really see the progression from the, hey, we're going to be together, to the living together, to the proposal, and then.
But you hinted it too, like towards the end of the book, that something else was coming.
Mm-hmm.
Because the way you ended and what he said at the end was just like, okay, a proposal's coming. Don't know when it's coming, but it's coming. So the fact that you surprised everybody with that book, thinking it was just going to be, because when I read it, I thought it was going to be Cameron, Cameron and Sylvester, and then I was like, oh, Grant and Jerry, and this was like all together. I was like, I love it. But we're gonna go back because like you said before, future projects. Gia's co-worker. I don't know, and correct me if I'm wrong. I just know she's in a fucked up relationship.
She's going through the process of separation. It is.
But I don't know if it was abusive or it's just strictly toxic. Because the way she was talking made it seem like she was like, I mean, I understand divorce can be hard. I've never been married before, so I really can't say. But the way that she was talking made it seem like she's been like her ex-husband was taking her through it.
Yeah, it's a mess. Definitely taking it through it. And I would say, as far as all the other couples in this series, that's a tough one, and they're still in the thick of that toxicity. So yeah, that was going to be a process there, but yeah, that's coming. How I ended with the last part being Jacinta, sitting there and actually no, the divorce did happen, but it's still a mess.
Yeah.
And trying to, adjust and dealing with, her child not being there with her for like the first, holiday like that. And that one is going to go like right into it. But yeah, that one, we got a fella that's going to get Miss Jacinta together. So I'm here. Sometimes these people go through it, but at the end, it's always worth it, and it comes back around, and then she gonna get back. So yeah.
I'm here for that. Okay, so besides her book, is there any other books or any like events or anything that you're doing for the 2024 year?
2024. So I'm not doing any events this year. Definitely keeping my options open for next year, but I'm just stay home this year. But I am working on different things. So I've thought I would have been finished with the story I'm working on now, but that's just always a story. I always think I'm gonna be finished.
Girl, it happens. It's okay. It happens.
Pushing back the deadline, like, you know what, we're good. But I want it to be a novella. I want it to be just a little summertime. These are brand new people. I honestly don't even know how I started writing this story, but like I'm a few thousand words from finishing it. I really want it to be just a quick little novella, but Chaz being Chaz, it'll be a shorter novel. Nothing, it will be shorter definitely than Grand Gia. It'll be shorter than Cam and Sly, but just a second chance story that just kind of turns into a little fake dating, a little get back, but it's a fun one. I'm enjoying these two. And I'm hoping to have that, I would say definitely midsummer. I'm really close to wrapping up. I can kind of obsess over these stories sometimes where it's like, I'm just not ready. I'm not ready, but I'm wrapping that up. That'll be coming soon. Jacinta is one that I want to work on, but then there's some other characters that's kind of been like on my shoulder. So we'll see how that goes, but hopefully I'm looking to do at least 2 more projects this year.
Cool. Okay. Before I get into the advice, actually, no, I'm gonna go into the advice. Let's just say I'm a writer, but I haven't been writing.
Okay.
That's what I want. and I'm watching these, and I'm like, dang, everybody's like, oh, I want to do what she does. What advice would you give someone who is watching this, and like, I want to write Black romance? What do I need to do next?
Okay, well, it's just really, I would say that me starting, you kind of just want to put the pen to the paper because that's the end goal. You want to have this story out, but it does take time to really understand what story it is that you want to tell. Because yes, there's Black romance, but then that can kind of spread off into other types of things. So take time into finding your voice, because there are a lot of outside opinions. There's a lot of outside influences that can kind of, I can understand you going out to those places and those avenues to try to get information, because, there's so much information. Everybody's something online. But I know I experienced just kind of losing sight of who I was and what story I wanted to tell, because I just got too concerned with looking at everyone else's and trying to tweak that plan to me. But we're all different, and we're all not going to tell the same stories. So no matter what's popular out there, no matter who's complaining about what, because I know especially these days, it's a little sensitive. And I would say that I've experienced it. 1 week I'm like, what are the readers talking about? Oh, they don't want series. Like, okay, let me scratch series off my list. They don't want to wait. They want, standalones. Then the next week, standalones are too quick. They want series. And I know I kind of found myself being confused. Like, damn, you have to just figure out what you want. Do that first. Just read, see what piques your interest, see what talks to you, see what inspires you, what really gets those ideas flowing, and let's spend some time there and develop that, and then sit there with that, figure you out first before you go out and get those outside opinions, because that will really mess with you. I really even talked about that with my Duval series. The first book, I just, I love to see the growth in that, but in that first book, I can just see those outside, those influences. I can see me trying to, repeat what I've seen, and then that crippled me. So I wasn't able to tell, but eventually we did get there. So it's just take a step back. There's always going to be an opinion. There is somebody there that wants that story, your genuine story. It may take time to find them, but you just keep doing that. Stick to you, what you want, what inspires you, and everything else will come.
I love that answer. I truly, truly love that answer, because last year that was for me.
Okay.
That's why I didn't write last year, because I was in the zone of like, I want to write. No, people might think this way, so I'm not writing it. Or I like this story idea. No, people might say this shit's whack. It's boring. It might be a copy of blah 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 blah. Don't do it. So I didn't do it. So the fact that you keep saying find y'all voice.
That's important.
And just write.
That's it. Just
because somebody might not like it. The person that you might think that's like one of the hottest people in the world might not like it, but at the same time, you might find somebody who you don't even know might say, this is like the best book I've ever read. She's my favorite author off of one book.
That's true. We don't need 500 of the same voices. We need different stories, different people. It's fine.
Because there's enough of that in the actual publishing world. Because it's a lot. Trust. So before I wrap up, I'm asking all my author friends, because you did this, be friends. What does Black romance mean to you?
Black romance to me is it's a voice that we need. It's showing that we deserve that same love too. I know there's a lot of discourse going on about things that are struggles, and if like there's issues there, but we just, Black romance is just it being fair to everyone deserving that. And Black people have Black love. It's not all toxic. It's not all trauma. That there's love there. There's happily ever afters there. Every community deserves that. And so that's why I love to write a story that's romantic, that is realistic, because that's just life. It's fiction, but there's some facts that's weaved in, in the stories as well. But just Black romance is just showing that we deserve that, and we get happily ever afters too.
I love that answer because it's true. We do deserve just as much as everybody do. Everybody else does. If the white people deserve it, we deserve it too. So
Yeah.
And like you said before, it's not gun, gun, bang, bang. I can, and I know exactly where you're coming from because I saw the tweet my darn self, and it's been to an uproar.
Look,
But
tweet after
it's been
tweet.
it's been an uproar like crazy. But
Mm.
like you said, these books right here, y'all. He's a college professor and he's a award-winning lawyer.
Yeah.
There is no urban. There's
Yeah.
no gun, gun, bang, bang in this.
And look, we need those too, because everybody doesn't have those
Of
stories.
course,
Everybody doesn't have that
everybody.
vanilla life. So that may not resonate with someone who has a background that's different.
Yes.
Have that, romance, Black, urban, whichever. Everybody still deserves that love.
I love my urban.
Straight up.
Like my cartel, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I want to read something that's fluffy or something that's realistic.
There's a little bit of balance there,
You got to have the balance. You just can't have one and then you expect, because that's all you saw and that's all you read growing up. Maybe it's 2024.
This whole world, it's there.
It's there.
Whatever facet, it's there.
You got to search, honey. You got to search.
Mm-hmm.
So for someone who is new to your catalog first time, what is a book that you suggest that they read?
Well, hey, let's just silver lining. I think that is just a good start. We got the laughs, we got the swooning, we got the spicy, and then that goes into 3 additional books. So let's start there.
Yeah,
I always like to just point people there. And like you say, if you want to get a little more gritty, then we have my homies Kai and Des. So we have I Thought I Knew, we have Never Knew I Needed You. So those are, I think those are 2 solid series there that are a good start, to the world of author Chassilyn.
I love that.
Thank you.
And before we get out of here, I meant to say this earlier. What was it like working with Wesley Siobhan?
Oh man.
Because y'all, if y'all haven't noticed, this is also an audiobook with Wesley Siobhan and Miles Washington. She got the GOAT, Wesley Siobhan.
Like a dream come true. I don't even
know. So how was that process working with her?
The stars just aligned. I will say that process, Miss Siobhan is about that business, and you can see that everything was cared for. That was the easiest. I thought it was going to be so hard. I was so scared. My first time. This was something I always knew I wanted to do audio. And just how Silver Lining was received, I wanted to start there. And I didn't know. But I was like, I believe in asking. You just never know. So, hey, the information's there. The email's there. I sent that email. I worked with her team. And when I tell you, like, no heavy lifting, I think the hardest thing was going through because I knew I wanted Wesley. Like, there was no question. Like, well, I'm here. But as far as the male lead, they sent like auditions. So I had a few, which that was very hard. You can't give me too many options because I'm gonna just sit there stuck. Like, don't give me too many because I just don't know. Like, I had to sit there, I had to take notes. Like, I don't know. But I finally got to Mr. Washington, which I did. I love what he did. And him, when he did multiple guys, like that scene where they were playing basketball. I don't know when they were playing, from his audition, I just knew he was gonna eat that scene up. And when I say that is my favorite part from him. But I just, as you shall receive, I will say that I do recommend her company. They take good care of you. Any questions you have, they're always available for you. When I got the files, I didn't know, like, this was the first for me. So just like that first time when you upload your book and it's just like, wait, I do not know what I'm doing. I felt audio book, but they care for everything. It really was just like moving from here to here. So definitely love that. Would love to work with her again. I know baby girl be booked and busy, and I mean I even had to wait. Like, it took me some time, but I arranged it some months ahead, and when the time came up, once again, her team was so good and so efficient. We're reaching out like, hey, just want to let you know, you're on the docket. We're going to start. And that process was just so smooth, no delays, very professional. Definitely a joy to work with, and definitely want to do it again.
Shout out to Leslie. I do have an interview with her that is on my personal page that I did when I did it last year. No, year for shit. I don't remember. It was last year. Year for last, I think. Year for last. When I did it's the voice in me. I asked her to, because I think during the time they were doing, her and Emmanuel Ingram were doing the what was it? They were doing it online. They were doing the live, and these people were reading books.
Oh my God, what is it called? Jeez.
First chapter, you know what I'm talking about. Did that. And they did Shay Sand. It was him, it was her, Emmanuel Ingram.
Okay.
Benjamin Charles.
Okay.
And it was, I want to say Winston James. It was Winston James.
Okay.
And they did a scene from Shay Sanders' Crave book.
I can only
and when I tell you,
look here.
Now, if you haven't read Shay Sanders, I'm gonna try to get on next season.
Get your life.
One of my goals. Please get your life together, because
that book, that series changed my life. Like,
it is truly a reverse horror room. Just picture, if you're in my age, just picture you being cooped up
with
B2K.
That's it.
At their prime, when they first came out.
Like, yes. Bump days.
Yes.
Yeah. You with the homies in the house, white shoes. When I tell you, Shay, baby, she know how to just open your mind. Like, she broke some chains for me.
And she doesn't even know what I feel like she knows what she's doing, but when you tell her about herself, she'll be like, I did that.
Just okay, don't play, girl. Because yes, definitely comfort. Her stories are comfort reads. There's the ones I could go back to time after time. I love
the Off the Clock series.
That's it,
girl.
I was like, girl, yep.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna eat. Matter of fact, let me write this down. Can I interview you next season?
Please.
Shay Sanders, because baby, we need to talk.
I would love. Yeah.
I don't know what you do interviews, but I want to ask, because there's nothing wrong with asking. But yeah, so they did that, and I was just like, I got you. So I emailed all 4 of them, got the information, like, hey, my name is Shakana. Also at the time, I think I was Kids Bookworm, and I was just like, I would like to do an audiobook, interview. And surprisingly, they all said yes.
So you just never know.
They all said yes.
That out. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so Wesley Siobhan's on my, I did a live with her, so she's on my Instagram story. But Benjamin, Winston, and Emmanuel are on my YouTube channel.
Okay.
So, and if y'all want to listen to it, I will leave the links below.
Please,
because Mr. Charles, just know the smile. This right here was on my face the entire time talking to him.
I bet. I can only imagine. I'm definitely this weekend. I'm checking those out.
Because he talks how he sounds actually in audiobook. So I was just like, the smile. The smile was on my face the entire time. I was like,
inspiring.
So I was like, oh my God, I want to talk to him. But yeah, so y'all, please definitely support this author for real. All her books are freaking amazing. And y'all know me, I just don't say that just to say it. If they're on here, that means I've either read them consistently or I have them on my shelf. So please support. Coming up, I have 2 more this month, and then the season is done. I have Agent Monique coming.
Okay.
And I'm ending my season with Miss Moon Bay, erotic author Moon Bay.
Alrighty.
So, and then I'll be at the end of season 3. So, and season 4 might be coming maybe later this year. I'm not really sure. Far as Sedona Rose work, I do have a book coming.
Okay.
Maybe end of May, early June. I actually am going to be writing all this weekend to actually trying to finish it. So if you're on my reading list, if you're on my mailing list, or if you're in my group, then you saw the cover. I'm actually being very anxious, so I might just be on lookout follow me on Sedona Rose _ or _ Sedona Rose on my Twitter if you want to see the cover, because honestly, I might just drop it and just call it a day. Never know. But I will leave Miss Chassilyn's all her work and her information in the link below. Y'all definitely support. Like I said, definitely read if you want a good vacation. And it's summertime. Summertime is coming. If you really want a vacation romance, I highly suggest Silk Lining. Like I said, she has an audiobook with it. Wesley Siobhan and Miles Washington, who is freaking amazing as well. Definitely support.
Yes.
And until next time, read what you want to love, write what you want to read, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye. Why do I want to leave the call? This topic. Can't focus on me.